One of the races that's still like completely a toss up, and we have no idea what's going on, is just Maine, Susan Collins. And Maine, she is obviously one of the two most moderate Republicans in the Senate, and she has hung on there for a long time, but didn't find exactly the moderate voice that the electorate in Maine wanted from her. Now, I think now what nationalized polarizing trends, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not she can actually continue to deliver that moderate brand in a time when, it seems like you can't, there's almost no ideological overlap between Republicans and Democrats. We agree on so little. That would be one thing to watch. I think the Senate race is
thanks for being with us all through this. And we were getting ready for big celebration. We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just all off. The results tonight have been phenomenal, and we are getting ready. I mean, literally, we were just all set to get outside and just celebrate something that was so beautiful, so good. Such a vote, such a success. The citizens of this country have come out in record numbers. This is a record. There's never been anything like it. They support our incredible movement. We won states that we weren't expected to. In Florida, we didn't win it. We won it by a lot. We won the great state of Ohio. We won Texas. We won Texas by 700,000 votes, and they don't even include it in the calculations. It's also clear that we have won Georgia. We're up by 2.5% or 117,000 votes with only 70% left, and then they catch us, they can't catch us. Likewise, we've clearly won North Carolina. We were up 1.4% or 77,000 votes with only approximately 5% left, they can't catch us. We also, if you look and you see Arizona, we have a lot of life in there, and somebody declared that it was a victory. Maybe it will be possible, but certainly there were a lot of votes out there that we could get, because we're now just coming into what they call Trump territory. I don't know what you call it, but these were 30 Trump voters, and that could be, again, the gentleman that called that I watched tonight, he said, well, we think it's fairly unlikely that he could catch, so fairly unlikely. And we don't even need it. We don't need that. That was just a state that we would have gotten. It would have been nice, Arizona. But there's a possibility, maybe even a good possibility. In fact, since I saw that originally, it's been changed and the numbers have substantially come down just a small amount of votes. So we want that obviously to stay in play. But most importantly, we're winning Pennsylvania by a tremendous amount. We're up 600, think of this. We're up 690,000 votes in Pennsylvania. 690,000. Well, these are the plus. It's not like, oh, it's just with 64% of the vote-in, it's going to be almost impossible because we're coming into big Pennsylvania areas where they happen to like your president. So we'll probably explain that. We're winning Michigan. I'll tell you, I looked at the numbers. I said, wow. I said, I'm not going to find it. That's a lot. But it was 300,000 votes. And 65% of the vote is in. And we're winning Wisconsin. I said, well, we don't need all of them. We need, because when you add Texas in, which wasn't all about, I spoke with the really wonderful governor of Texas just a little while ago, and Greg Abbott, he said, congratulations, he told me to congratulate me on winning Texas. I mean, we won Texas. I don't think they finished off the calculation, but there's no way. And I also like this complete congratulations. And he said, my word, that's all I want. I've never seen that in the past. And it's so we won by 107,000 votes with 81% of the vote. So when you take those three states in particular, and you take all of the others, I mean, we have so many, we had such a big night. You just take a look at all of the states that we won tonight, and then you take a look at the kind of margins that we won by, and all of a sudden, it's not like we're up 12 votes and we have 60% left. We won states, and all of a sudden, I said, what happened to the election? And we have all these announcers saying, what happened? And then they said, oh, because you know what happened? They knew they couldn't win. So they said, let's go to court. And did I forget this? Did I say this? I've been saying this from the day I heard they were going to send out tens of millions of, as I said exactly, because either they were going to win or if they didn't win, they'll take us to court. So Florida was a tremendous victory. 377,000. Texas, as we said. Ohio, look at this. Ohio, a tremendous state, a big state. I love Ohio. We won by 8.1%, 460, almost 500,000 votes. North Carolina, big victory with North Carolina. And so we won there. We lead by 76,000 votes with almost nothing left. And all of a sudden, everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big movement. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list. Okay? It's a very sad moment. To me, it's a very sad moment. And we will win this. And we, as far as I'm concerned, we already have. So I just want to thank them. And I want to thank all of our support. I want to thank all of the people that worked with us. And Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to join you in thanking more than 60 million Americans who have already cast their vote for 4 more years for President Donald Trump. And while the votes continue to be counted, we're going to remain vigilant, as the President said. The right to vote has been at the center of our democracy since the founding of this nation. We're going to protect the integrity of the vote. And I really believe with all my heart that the extraordinary margins, Mr. President, that you've inspired in the states that you just described, and the way that you launched this movement across the country, I truly believe, as you do, that we are on the road to victory and we will make America great again.
was out talking to voters, particularly in Ohio and Pennsylvania, and more rural areas, people who have jobs have 401ks, and I had a lot of voters say to me, my 401k is doing really well.
And that's the thing, Kate. We're correct in saying the stock market and the economy are not the same thing, but think about retirees. For a lot of retirees, their retirement accounts are their income. It is what they depend on, and they feel like they've had a good ride under President Trump, and while the president has said to them over and over, without me, your 401k will be lost, that's not necessarily true, but people believe it.
All right, Stephanie Rule, thanks for staying up with us. Appreciate it so much. Let's bring in Susan Del Percio. She's a Republican strategist. She's an NBC News contributor. She's involved with the Lincoln Project as well. Susan, nice to see you at this hour of the morning, 4:45 on the East Coast. We lost Susan. We're having a lot of gremlins on this overnight shift. It's very hard, as you can imagine, to get everybody wired up at this late hour. Let's go back to Monica Alba, who's at the White House for us. Monica, when you look at the map, and we've been talking about critical states, talk to me about if the White House is gaming this out now and still awake at this hour and looking at what they really need to win. And the president said he claimed he's got a clear path. What is the path that they're looking at as most likely?
It's quite narrow, Kate. That's the most important thing here. When we zoom out and look at what is left and what is still remains that needs to be counted, the president's campaign was feeling very optimistic about some of the Sun Belt states, Florida, North Carolina, which of course has not been called yet and is incredibly close. They thought they were going to do better in Arizona. Obviously, former Vice President Joe Biden doing better there. So that really leaves this main outstanding question of the Rust Belt. Those three critical states, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, that essentially delivered Donald Trump, then candidate Trump, the White House in 2016. What will those look like for him this time around? And unfortunately, all of those, because we don't have a complete picture yet, we're hoping to get a little bit more information on Wisconsin later this morning. They are just too close to call and too early to call in some cases. But really, for the president's re-election effort, they have to do quite well in 2 of 3 of those in order to really maintain this path. They were looking at, in combination with some of the other things, that's assuming that they hold on to Georgia, which is not definitive at this point. There's still a lot that remains outstanding there. So the president really now facing an uphill battle, and that's why his comments earlier tonight were so inflammatory and controversial. Even those aides and allies around him that we've seen now speaking out afterwards, saying they were distressed, in the words of one of them, by what the president was saying, because while he is trying to claim victory, that's simply not the case yet. But look, Kate, the fact is the Trump campaign was playing a lot of defense in these final weeks, and we knew that in terms of where the president was spending his time in states he won in 2016, not so much trying to expand the map in any way, shape, or form. About a year ago, I remember having conversations with campaign aides who were optimistic about states they could potentially flip. They were talking about a Nevada, for example, or New Mexico, or even something like Oregon. Of course, that's not at all what the strategy ended up being in these final weeks and final days. Instead, really looking to the states he won super narrowly last cycle to see if they could hang on to them again. They're pleased with what they saw so far, though, in terms of turnout, and they're hoping that that turnout is visible in some of these Midwestern states when the votes continue to be counted, of course, from all those ballots that were already cast but are still outstanding in terms of the totals. But it's also going to be a major legal battle, it appears. That's what Republicans are preparing for. It's something they've been doing for months, and in the state of Pennsylvania is really where a lot of this could still come down to, Kate.
Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin are going to be critical in the hours to come. Monica Alba at the White House for us. Monica, thanks so much. Much more to come when our Decision 2020 coverage continues in just a moment.
That's why I said many times before, right? But you just came into my 70s and 80s. Because what's involved? And you probably say, what's involved? Listen, I'll tell you. But, thank you for my mind. when I met him back in '97 and set him up for now, right? Just so I can show you better than just telling you. Because I was to tell you a long time ago from like the 80s, right? But I was like, I'm only 5'2" as a freshman. I'm trying to fight that. So, King David was in India at that time. So, I had to wait till now. Right now, right? As now, right? As you talk, as they speak about me, right? And the cool thing about it is, I set it up like that. Right? I made you lie down in green pastures. I mean, how can I not? The way the democracy was set up, that was just complete okie doke. Now, I'm talking about going back from coming out of preschool, right? When I knew it, right? I was shown, I was raised accordingly. Sometimes, you see what it is, you guys get under a spell. That's why y'all love to quote stuff that y'all read or learned,